Good morning. It is Wednesday, July the 2nd of 2025. And my glasses have a glare on it, and I know it, but I can see better if I have them on. Listen, I've got some notes, and I've got a lot of things to tell you, just a little of this and a little of that. But first of all, I guess you're wanting to know if I've told my husband yet about my channel. If you're new here, I started this channel the 27th of February, and I didn't tell my husband because he's not much fun, and he wouldn't care. He just goes with the flow. But we've discussed about if I should tell him about my channel or not, so I've now I'm not going to promise, but I might tell him when I reach 1,000 subscribers. And as of the last account I had, it was 838. And so that means I need 162. But let me tell you this. Some people have said, tell him. Some people have said, don't tell him. You don't have to tell him everything. And I agree about that. But I don't have many secrets. Someone said, why don't you record him when you tell him to get his response? Now here's why that I won't do that. As you know from a picture I showed you a few weeks ago, my husband was one hot hunk. But in the last few years with his cancer, he has gone down, down, and down, and I don't think he would want his picture on here looking like he does right now. But if I tell him, I will make sure and give you his response, which I would say would be, you do? What'd you do that for? Or why are you doing that? Hey, I told you he's no fun. So let's just keep having fun, okay? I've got just a little of this and that and the other to tell you. I don't even know where to start. First of all, have you ever seen those advertisements on TV about the St. Jude Dream House? They do this once a year. I wish I knew how many years ago that they started doing that. I'm not sure. But from the get-go, I saw this advertised on Lexington TV channels. And I'm not a gambler. My dad was so against buying lottery tickets. I mean, he would not shop at Kroger because they sold lottery tickets. I mean, it's like, hey, Kroger, if you're going to sell lottery tickets, you're not getting my business. Well, what he didn't know is at some of these little gas stations that he would stop at, they sold lottery tickets, but he didn't know it. So, anyway, and my aunt was the same way. She wouldn't trade at Kroger because they sold lottery tickets. Well, just because they sell them doesn't mean you have to buy one, but I don't know if they understood that or not. Anyway, I had seen this advertisement on TV about the St. Jude Dream House. And what they do, they sell tickets for $100 a piece. And they sell just so many, I think they sell a limited number of tickets. But if you don't win the house, I shouldn't be telling you this because now every one of you is going to go buy a ticket. Especially you Kentucky fellas. And you'll be competing against me. And I'll tell you, and maybe you'll feel sorry for me and won't go buy one. I bought one for years. But what I didn't really care is that they had like first, second, other prizes. And like one of them one year was like $1,000 gift card to Kroger. Well, I would have loved to have that. Who wouldn't like to have that? Or Walmart or somewhere. So, I'll take a consolation prize. I'm not picky. But my husband, he knew I was buying the ticket every year. Every year I never won a thing. So, I haven't bought one for the last few years. And I love St. Jude. They do so many great things, and it's such a great organization. But, you know, sometimes when your budget gets a little slim, you think, why am I doing that? Of course, it's not tax deductible, but it goes for a good cause. So we were sitting on the couch yesterday, and that came on TV. He said, are you going to buy a ticket for the St. Jude Dream Home this year? I said, no, I'm not. I haven't bought one for the last few years. And he said, well, since our girl is going to be going to school at the University of Kentucky, maybe you should buy a ticket. And if you win the house, she could live in the house. And I thought, what a great idea. This man is sitting here and those brain cells are just... So guess what I did? I got on there and bought me a ticket. And so on September the 25th, and you know what is kind of scary about this, is my dad's birthday is September the 25th. Now wonder if I won that house on his birthday after is that gambling? But really, you know, it's a good donation. Of course, you know, they say lottery tickets are good donations, so I have never bought a lottery ticket myself to scratch off. But last year or year before last, the softball team was trying to think of a new fundraiser. And so they said for every kid, every one of the softball girls, to buy like so many, well, somebody's mowing the yard, to buy so many lottery tickets, and they were going to put them in a basket and, you know, sell tickets to buy the basket of lottery tickets. Lord, I was in that Minute Mart or whatever, and I thought, if my dad looks down from heaven and sees me buying these lottery tickets, he is going to be very disappointed in his daughter. But it was a big hit. But then after they did it, they made, you know, some money on it, and then there was some red tape. If you were going to do it again, you had to fill out all this paperwork, so they didn't do it again. But anyway, I've got a ticket for the St. Jude Dream Home, and in September, on the 25th, I am hoping to win that house. And my husband said, well, I forgot how many $1,000 house it is, like $300,000 or $400,000 house. He said, you know, even though you win the house, you got to pay the taxes on it. He said, whoever wins it, can they afford to buy, you know, pay the taxes? And I said, can we afford to pay the taxes? And he said, well, it'd be 6% of whatever that was. And it was like $30,000. So he said we could. So hopefully I'm going to win the dream house in Lexington on September the 25th. And I will just keep reminding you of that so that we will share the news together. Let's not get too excited about it. Okay. Just a little bit of news I heard yesterday, I think it was, that I wanted to tell you about. You know, a while back I was talking about those 2 channels from Israel that I'd been watching some, and that one lady is such a beautiful lady, beautiful home. I think they might live like in a condominium, or because when they have had these bomb threats, you know, during this war they've just had, and they would go down steps to the bottom of this building, so I assume it's apartment. Well, I was watching her yesterday, and I thought, she just seems to kind of have a different demeanor about her. And of course, we hope that the war has ended, and I think it might have been 12 days. And she had such a smile on her face. You could see the stress was less in her face than it was whenever I've been watching it before, when they were not getting a full night's sleep. And she was talking about washing her hair. And I thought about this. She said, I got to wash my hair this morning for the first time since this war started, because she said I was afraid that whenever I got my hair wet or got it soaked up, that the sirens might go off and we would have to go to the bomb shelter. And so she hadn't washed it in all that time. And she, on part of this video that I watched, which was recorded probably just the last 2 or 3 days, she, on part of the time, she was laying on the couch and had the most beautiful smile on her face. And it just warmed my heart thinking she was so thankful to be able to wash her hair. And then here we are sitting around griping about the weather. We've got so much to be thankful for. I can wash my hair anytime I want to or take a shower. But if you get a chance to watch that, it's that Crochetobjet Knitting is the name of her channel. I'll put it down here in the comment, in the description later, in case you didn't write it down the other day. But she makes bread. She makes a little loaf of bread just about every day, maybe every 2 days, for her and her husband, and they have 2 sons that live with them. And just the things she cooks is just, her house is just like something out of a magazine. But I was thinking, there again, we need to be thankful. Listen, I watched this lady a few times recently, and I'm going to write her name in the comments too. She is a hoot. She's 50-something years old. She's a young chick. Her channel is Solo Second Half, and her name is Pam. And she has a sense of humor that's kind of like mine that I can really relate to. But the other day she was talking about, now it wasn't the video she put out like yesterday, it was the one before that. So I'll put her information down below, and you watch this. It is so funny. She's talking about moving to a retirement area and about how the people are just falling dead right and left and how depressing it is. Because here she's just, I forgot how old she's just in her 50s. But she thought this would be a good place to move because it would be nice and quiet, you know, with older people. But she said every time you look around, there's an ambulance out there picking somebody up. Or you might be playing a game with somebody today and they'd be dead tomorrow. But I got so tickled because she made this comment. And I wrote her a note this morning, told her I was going to put it on here. She said she felt like she was on a conveyor belt to the funeral home. Now, is that not funny or what? She felt like she was on a conveyor belt to the funeral home. So kind of we're all on the conveyor belt, but we're just moving at different speeds, hoping it'll wait a while for all of us, right? I thought that was so funny, but you've got to look at her channel. And she's got a lot of subscribers. I don't know, I hadn't seen her before, but you need to look at that and say, oh my goodness, I've got a new stain. My girl has this, I hate this shirt. It's lime green. And it's got something about beef on it. She got it at one of those meetings she goes to. Well, she went down to the barn the other day, I think it was Saturday, and she sprayed the horses with the water hose because it's been so hot, and they love being sprayed off, cool down. She fooled around down there cleaning up poop piles and doing all this stuff. Well, when she come back up to the house, she had some, you know, stains on that shirt. I thought, no big deal. I've got the trick to get any stain out. Well, whenever I started washing the shirt yesterday, I sprayed a little shout on it. Threw it in there with some washing. Washed it, got that load out, threw them in the dryer. And I, you know, like stuff like that, like knit shirts and all that, I'll just dry it a few minutes and hang them up. Because my mother always said that drying your clothes all the way will wear it out. Plus it takes a lot more electricity, and sometimes it will shrink your clothes. So I dry them 10 or 15 minutes and then hang them up. in the laundry room, let them dry. Guess what? I got that shirt out of the dryer and looked, and there were them stains still in there, just like they were when I started. And I thought, here me trying to be the queen of getting stains out. And I had just told my girl the other day, I said, if you have a stain in something and you wash it in the washing machine and you get it out and that stain's still on there, don't put it in the dryer, because that supposedly sets the stain. But what did I do? I threw the shirt in the dryer. Just as soon as I got that shirt out of the dryer. See, I didn't pay attention. I just thrown everything in the dryer. I got that thing out, and there was a big stain. Those just big blobs of stain down through there. So I thought, now it was just yesterday, the day before, I had said that to my girl to, try to teach her. I don't know if I'm capable of doing this or not. So I got the shirt, I wet it where the stains were, and I got my Fels naphtha bar, and I scrubbed that and then washed it again, and I thought it was out until I got it out and put it on a hanger. It's still in there. So today I am hanging the shirt out on the porch where the sun can do its magic on it, and I'm going to see what that does, and then if that doesn't work, I'll try something else. So I don't need to be given any advice on getting stains out. So we'll see how that works out. All right, another little thing I wanted to tell you was yesterday I went through my closet of dresses, which I told you in all I had about 30. But now that's summer and fall, long sleeve, short sleeve, long sleeve, all together. I didn't try on the long sleeve ones. I tried on all the short sleeved ones to see if I could wear them. Well, believe it or not, it seems like that my body is going, and I am going to blame it on bread. And I need to quit eating so much bread. But it's hard to. And I don't exercise, and I need to, but I don't want to. I'd rather lay on the couch and watch YouTube and just think about I need to exercise. Well, some of my dresses are getting a little tight around the, as Grandma Lois would say, I've got a good supply up here at the top. And when you gain weight, why does it go right there, of all places? And of course it goes to your midriff and your waist. Well, things are getting a little tight. But anyway, I found 11 dresses, and a lot of those are that Bowden. I'll be lucky to get $5 out of them. But now I've worn a lot of them. Some of them I've not even worn before. But I don't like how they feel. So I washed them all yesterday. I washed 11 dresses. And then my husband has 3 long sleeve shirts, really nice Van Heusen shirts that haven't been worn hardly any, but they're way too big on him and he can't wear them. They're like a 2XL tall or something. I'm going to take them up there. So I'm going to do that here in a little bit. And I got one of my dresses from Amazon, and I really liked it. And I think it was just like 20-something. So before you go spending $100 on a dress, look on Amazon. They've got good stuff. You know what? I got to get off here. But I've got a funny story. So you can tell your husband that I'm going to read a funny story, because I know they'll want to hear it too. And then, if you're new here, I just so much appreciate all my new subscribers and hope you will hang in there with me, and that I can just, do we call it entertaining? But anyway, I'm so excited. just people from all over the world. And that's what I want. I want people everywhere. England and Italy, France, Australia. I've already got somebody from Australia, but I want more. Everywhere. It's so much fun and it's so exciting. And we're all going to be excited to see what my husband says when he finds out. Here's the funny story. Oh, let me tell you something else I've been watching on YouTube. It is ridiculous. I mean, you get so involved in these. There's all kinds of little videos about policemen arresting 99.9% of the time it's women, arresting them like for shoplifting. They'll have the goods on them, and then when the policeman gets them, they turn on the policeman and act like they're the victim. And they just act, it is unreal. They say some very ugly words, but usually they beep them out. But if you have not watched some of those, they're not funny. It's sad that our society has come to that these people are. This one woman, I gotta tell you this. This one woman had on a long skirt, and she was such a lady. Look, just so nice looking, beautiful lady. She had on this long, flairty skirt. And another lady was with her and two more. And they were from another country, but they lived here. Or they might have just been here, I don't know. They caught them. Listen, people, underneath her skirt, she had this thing around her waist, tied around her waist, and then had a big, long zipper compartment underneath her skirt that was as long almost as her skirt. And it was this wide and about almost the length of her skirt. It was stuffed full of clothes. They unzipped that thing and they pulled and pulled and pulled clothes out of that zipper thing with the tags still on them. And they also had one of those things that you could take those detectors off. So see, they were taking the detectors off probably when they were trying on the clothes and then sticking them down in that bag. I don't know how that woman was walking with all them clothes. All right, here's a funny story. If you get bored, watch those police things. They're funny. They are just funny. And they video them, with those cameras they have on them. A highway patrol officer was sitting in his car on the shoulder, radar ready, when a car crawled past doing exactly 22 miles per hour. He blinked. Now that's just as dangerous as speeding, he muttered, flipping on his lights. He pulled the car over and walked up to the driver's side window. Inside were 6 elderly ladies, 2 in the front, 2 in the back, and 2 squished in the middle, all looking absolutely petrified, their eyes wide like they'd just seen a ghost. The woman behind the wheel rolled down her window and smiled sweetly. "Good afternoon, officer. Was I speeding?" "Not quite," he replied, "but driving far below the speed limit can be just as risky. May I ask you why you were going 22 miles an hour?" She looked confused. "Well, that's what the sign said, Route 22. The officer stifled a laugh. "Madam, that's the route number, not the speed limit." Her cheeks flushed pink. "Oh dear," she said. "That explains a lot." He nodded and glanced inside the vehicle again. "I have to ask, are your passengers all right? They look like they've seen a ghost." The driver leaned over and whispered, "They'll be fine in a minute, officer. We just got off Route 142. Hey, it's a beautiful day here in Kentucky. Don't get out. Stay in and enjoy the air conditioning, and I will see you soon. And usually I try to put up about 3 videos a week because, I have to have certain circumstances before I can put them up. So just hang in there, tell your friends, make sure you like this video, and I'm going to see you soon. Bye-bye.